Folks, you know what time it is. It is Tuesday, 12:30 p.m. It's time for the right side of campus. Today is Tuesday, June 13th. A full Major League Baseball card out for us. All notes have been taken. Big man's been prepping. I've been prepping. The big man also celebrated last night, closing out a nice Golden State Futures ticket here in the playoffs. So congratulations to him. I also had a nice winner last night, a quick and easy winner last night, Jeff, on the Cincinnati Reds over 8.5 minus 130, which had that covered by the second inning. So a nice night for all for the late night on campus. We had a nice, enjoyable one there. Big man, how's it going today, man?
Doing good, Donnie. You know, life is good. I just cashed a future last night, which, you know, look, I mean, I don't really – if you didn't bet that, I don't know why you didn't. I mean, was it really a foregone conclusion that the Warriors weren't going to win? I know we were all supposed to get excited because LeBron and the Cavs won a game, but – look, I think we all knew who the better team was by a long shot. I'm heading to the shore in several hours. I got an appointment, and then I got to head down. So late night, you won't see me here. I won't be in this room here.
Be in another state, huh?
I'll be in your state, Donnie.
Yeah.
Garden State, the great New Jersey. So I'll look to get a nice view behind me. Maybe have a woman walking around or something. I don't know. We'll see what I can do. But Donnie, before that, though, we have baseball, a lot to do today. Baseball's full front now, Donnie. Nothing else going on. So if you don't like baseball, well, I guess we'll see in August. But if you like baseball.
Yeah, no, MLB is going to be obviously the point of emphasis for us today. But I do remind you tomorrow, Jeff, on the round table at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to talk a little college football. So right around the corner for us, never too early, Jeff, to start on that and start mapping out some plans on who you like and what happened in the offseason. So we'll have a lot of fun with that show tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I'm always down to talk about college football. I miss it. I'm ready to talk about it. So I'm excited about the prospect of talking about that, Donnie. So I look forward to it.
Yeah, no, full baseball card on the slate today. We'll keep it normal as usual. There is a doubleheader on the card today, but doesn't start till 2 o'clock, so plenty of time to get through all those games. A lot of rain conditions here that you might want to take a look at if you are a gambler. You know, same thing as the normal, but it looks like there's about 5 or 6 games that might be impacted here. I do like the overall look of the card. I think there is some betting value. And, Jeff, just right before my eyes, before you even get down there, Clayton Kershaw laying about somewhere in the 150s. What year is this?
Yeah, I guess we're supposed to be interested, and we'll get to that one. That's an interesting line for sure. I'm excited about that game for sure. Obviously, we know what I think of the LA Dodgers. So, yeah, a lot to do. I guess we'll cap the card thinking that it'll be like the weather to my left, nice and sunny. But, again, might not be. So, again, you know, if we get canceled, it gets canceled. But we'll look at it as if they're going to be played.
Yeah, highs in the upper 90s today. We're me and Jeff here in the Northeast, so the summer might as well start now. That is hitting weather across Major League Baseball. And again,
Donnie, I will point this out. There is a front coming through. It's going to – I mean, it's not going to get cold or anything, but it's going to be significantly different weather conditions on the East Coast. So, you know, like I know tomorrow it's only supposed to be in like the high 70s, I think. So, you know, look at the way that will affect weather. Obviously, with hot weather breeds thunderstorms. So, I think with the weather we have now, I think thunderstorms are always going to be pop-up. And that's kind of something about baseball that as you get into the summer, it's more and more volatile because when you have a thunderstorm, it's not going to usually pop up 6 hours ahead of time. It's a scattered kind of thunderstorm. It's going to come, hit you for about 15, 20 minutes and go away. The problem with that is if you start a baseball game and a thunderstorm rolls through, your pitch is ruined. So you really have to be on top of weather in general. It's hard to be on top of it in the summer with scattered thunderstorms and stuff, but you know, definitely keep that in mind.
And also to all my backers out there, or all my under backers, I should say, I'm lighting a candle for you. I'm praying each and every day. Betting an under will end your life, what, Jeff, maybe 15 years earlier, put an extra couple grays in your hair each and every night. If you are betting unders in Major League Baseball under 19 runs, you're not getting value. It's apparent right now. They should just go to Vegas and set over-unders right now, Jeff, at 20, and they probably would still go over.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think there's certain spots, and I think there are actually one or two today, but if for the most part, unders are not something you should be betting consistently because they're not coming in.
Yeah, 5-2-2 yesterday, and that even includes like the late games. Like the two ties, you should have had one if you had unders. That was the Pittsburgh game, which they tacked on runs late. An Aaron Judge 2-run blast out there in California. I believe that line actually closed at 8. So he made that game 5-3. So again, like unless I remember you had a game a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it wasn't even maybe about a week ago, Jeff. The Pittsburgh game where I believe Ivan Nova was on the mound. Not this Sunday, but the one previous, which was like a 3-0 game. Man, they just seem so rare. Even looking last night, Jeff, in the Yu Darvish game, how long was that game? 2-1 till late in the game. All of a sudden, a 3-run blast by Mazzara, and you had a 6-1 game, and you're praying that game stayed under.
Well, yeah, that's how that Yankee game went last time. I mean, there were runs late in that game, but that game was fairly low scoring for the most part. Yeah, and that's why, like, we've all made the mistake over the years of celebrating before a game's over, something like that. I think if you get beat late, and that's a funny thing, Donnie, about when I've mentioned when I talk to women about what we do, they're always like, wow, that seems pretty interesting. That seems pretty cool. It's pretty stressful, to be honest. Like no one, and they're, people say to me like, well, what, it's pretty easy, right? No, I mean, when you have a game, it's 2-1 going to the 7th inning, and game goes over 9 runs. I mean, baseball, you've mentioned it before, Donnie, there's no time limit. When you're getting jumped on run-wise, I mean, it could last forever seemingly. So, yeah, totals are tough. My advice, don't bet unders.
Exactly. Sunday, I had lost a play earlier in the day, but I'm always interested in baseball, keeping up on my phone, even if I'm out and about there. The runs that were scored on Sunday afternoon in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning were something I've never seen in my life. I'm talking about games that are 1-0 in the 7th and 8th inning, scoring like 13 runs combined. Just, again, in baseball, there is no clock. There's no shot clock. There's no 3-2-1 game is over. You have to play each and every out. And the one interesting thing about baseball, which is a lot different as well, is these hitters get paid based on their numbers. So even if they're down, Jeff, 15-1 in the top of the 9th inning, they are scrambling like their life is on the line to get a base hit, a home run, an RBI, because it all counts the same. That's the one thing you can never count out. In the NFL and college football, it's a blowout late. Let's just run the ball into the middle of the pack. You still have to pitch, and you still have to hit in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Let's get to the card here for us today. Big day here, so let's see what we have. We'll keep it right down the rotation as usual as me and the big man break it down. Let's go to 901, 902, Jeff. Battle of the tomato cans out here. R.A. Dickey versus Ross. 2,500 tickets have already been tracked in this one. Only 26% here, Jeff, are currently back in the road team here, the Atlanta Braves, with R.A. Dickey versus Ross and the Washington Nationals. Over-under opened at 10. Why not? These two guys should give it up. They tend to give it up in the past, and we'll see what happens. Ross, however, had a decent start his last time out, which I was kind of surprised of. But then again, when you see, Jeff, what Baltimore has been doing, is it really that much of a surprise that he dominated Baltimore with their shell lineup? I think he's been solid in his last start versus Philadelphia, but overall on the road, Jeff, 5.90 ERA. Ross, solid versus Baltimore his last start, but he's been shelled at a 6.16 ERA over the season. Atlanta trends 0-5, Jeff, which I'm not a big believer in overall trends, but 0-5 after allowing 10 runs or more, which kind of makes me laugh, saying, well, they don't respond well. And then I say to myself, like, damn, 5 games already in the early season, they've given up more than 10 runs. Washington 5-6 in June, still trying to find themselves there. Jeff, what gives today? 2 pitchers I don't trust. Ross laying 200 at home here.
Yeah, the theme of the night, Donnie, yet again last night, the Washington Nationals blow a game late because of their bullpen. I mean, it just seems like a nightly occurrence for this group anymore. All I see, Donnie, when I look at, it's kind of odd, but at 1 or 2 in the morning, I'll go on MLB on the app and I'll just watch like highlights and stuff and like press conferences. And it seems like every night Dusty Baker's being asked about this pitching staff. And every night he gives the same old tired response. Well, we're going to get behind it and we're going to fix it. And it hasn't been fixed. Joe Ross, I mean, he had a nice outing, like you said, against Baltimore, but I mean,
he's
Baltimore's
a tomato can, man.
shell right now. Yeah, I mean, Joe Ross, let's be honest. I mean, before that, he gave up 11 runs over his last 2 starts. And let's be honest. I mean, Joe Ross is the most run support in baseball by a wide margin. I mean, you look at in 7 games, he's run support over 10 per game. I mean, that's not going to continue. Joe Ross, I don't think is a very good pitcher. I think he's had some problems this year with, just a lot of people on base. He's putting people on base. And, you look at some of the lineups that he's faced. I mean, gave up 5 runs against San Diego Padres, gave up 6 against Oakland. I mean, not exactly, murderer's row there. I don't trust that bullpen. I don't trust Joe Ross. I trust that the Nationals will hit R.A. Dickey. I trust that the Atlanta Braves will be able to hit. I mean, Donnie, the Atlanta Braves are hitting 263 on the year. That's a stark comparison to last year where they couldn't hit the weight of a paper bag. I would look over the total in this game. Both these pitchers are over pitchers. Obviously, with the Joe Russ run sport. And, look, R.A. Dickey at times, this guy's going to give up 4 or 5 runs a game. That's just kind of what he does for the most part. I would look over 10 here.
Yeah, I was on again, I like to avoid taking knuckleballers in a side situation, but sometimes I'll lean on an over. I did hit a R.A. Dickey Atlanta and Washington total over early in the season with, I believe it was Gio Gonzalez versus R.A. Dickey down in Atlanta. I don't see anything different. R.A. Dickey can surprise you, Jeff. If you haven't seen it before, you're not used to it, but these guys have been around the block. We'll see if Ryan Zimmerman even gets involved tonight. So it's a nice hitting lineup. And again, there's no, I know he had a Cy Young in the past, but this is no longer, a younger R.A. Dickey. It's been around. I mean, you said the same thing. His 6 innings, 4 earned runs is almost anticipated out of him at this point at the very best.
Say it again, Don. You cut out.
I was just saying, R.A. Dickey's at his best right now is 6 innings and 4 earned runs.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't really get that much better.
That's the tip. That's what he's going to give you. He's always been that kind of guy. He's always been that guy that's, hopefully going to keep you in the game. I mean, and for a while it worked because he was on Toronto, and when he was with Toronto, they had some really good lineups last year, the year before. He doesn't necessarily have that with Atlanta, but look, he's still going to give up 4 or 5 runs. That's what he does. Nationals should have no problem scoring runs off him. I don't think the Atlanta Braves have any trouble either. I think they're going to score 3, 4, 5 runs here. Yeah. I think this is like an 8-5 type of game, something like that. I think we see plenty of runs late. I think the Atlanta lineup's actually pretty good. I mean, for the most part, as long as I don't see that Ryu Ruiz lineup, yeah. I'm good. If I do see that, I might not bet it. But if I get a good lineup for Atlanta, I mean, Kemp, Markakis, Brandon Phillips, I mean, they've kind of picked up slack here. Look, Matt Adams, he hit 2 home runs last night. A nice signing there. So, yeah, I would go over 10 here.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the trend for me as well. I'm certainly not leaning an under with those pitchers on the mound there. Let's keep it moving here, Jeff. We'll stay on the East Coast. Rotation 903, 904. We're going to go Chatwood versus Cole. Light betting action. About 3,100 tickets have been tracked here. 26%, Jeff, of the tickets are backing the Pittsburgh Pirates here, leaning towards Chatwood at 74%. But however, more of the money with Garrett Cole, 54% coming in here with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Line opened up here at Pinnacle at -108. Since bet a little bit higher, Pinnacle to -114. Over under opened at 9. Jeff currently sitting at 9. If we take a look at some interesting splits here for both of these guys, Chatwood's last 3 road starts, 21 innings, Jeff, 2 earned runs. Cole's last 4 starts, I had to actually double check to see if it was correct. Roughly 20 innings out of Cole, 23 earned runs. So certainly not keeping up his end of the bargain for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Colorado 16-8 even after the loss on the road that they did take last night to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates on a 3-game streak here. We'll see if it continues. But the one thing that has to change there is sooner or later, one would think here, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole name of Garrett Cole, it's a good point by some of the people in the chat box. I mean, you hear his name and you just kind of think, he's a guy that's just going to give you – and that's what I think when I hear Garrett Cole. I don't want to bet against him. It's not something I want to do. But you look over the last 9 2/3 innings, 14 earned runs for Garrett Cole. He's not had it. I don't know if – I got a weird feeling if he pitches bad here, they'll throw him on the DL like seemingly everyone else. Look, Pittsburgh, though – and this is the issue with Pittsburgh. When they can hit, their pitching's very good. And when they hit, their pitching sucks. I mean, you look at their pitching lately, they've had some major problems. They're actually hitting, though. They're hitting 304 over the last week or so. They just can't get on the same page with everything. You look at Colorado Rockies. Obviously, last night was an interesting spot. Obviously we saw kind of the writing on the wall there, but they've murdered right-handed pitching all year. They've been a very good road team. We've talked about Chatwood's success, but I think they bounce back tonight, the Rockies. I would go with them here. I don't like Cole right now. I guess Chatwood, for the record, is a guy that, has some success on the road, but for me, it's hard because Pittsburgh has won, Donnie, 12 of 15 against the Colorado Rockies. So this is a tough one. I do think this series is going to really goat you into taking the Rockies. That's concerning to me. Like, why are Pittsburgh a favorite? Is that just because Cole's pitching? They were a favorite yesterday, so I don't think it has anything to do with Cole. This is a weird line. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I think bettors are going to get crushed again in this game probably. So for me, I'm probably going to stay away just because the line just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit more. I don't even know if the money – I haven't checked the money aspect for the totals here, but opened up at 9. You actually can pay a little bit of double juice for the 8.5. What's up?
And you know what also this line's telling me? I think this line's also saying that maybe the books see Cole pitching well here. I mean, look, not for nothing, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, can he pitch any worse? I don't know. It's a tough way to angle it. I can't really find something here. The Rockies look like to play, but they look like to play yesterday too, and everyone ate their words on it. So
yeah, if you're looking at the overall money situation just from a side point of view, Pittsburgh would be the play, only 26% of the tickets and 54% of the money. So almost, Jeff, that same type of situation you're right about yesterday where people said, what gives? Why is Pittsburgh the favorite? An easy winner by Pittsburgh. The one thing I do like is moving Watson out of that closing role. I believe it's Romero is now the closer. Romero. It's for some reason slipping my mind. Kid's got electric stuff, throws over 100 miles an hour. So hopefully that changes up. Even Watson yesterday, outside of his closer role in the 7th inning, was getting put a little bit to the skids in that area. So nice to get him out of there. But I agree. When Pittsburgh's a full go lineup, it's a decent hitted lineup right now. McCutchen has hit very well in the 6th spot. He's still slow as hell out there. I can't imagine how his 40 time dropped, a full second, it seems like, in about the last year and a half. But he is hitting well. Harrison hitting very well. Frazier gives you a little bit at the top of the lineup. And they have some good young Latin hitters there in that lineup that when they're on, they can hit the baseball a little bit. So I would lean here again towards the over in this situation. If you're going to get about 9 or 8.5 there, I can't see it staying under. Because, again, if Colorado gets hot and the way that the overall pitching for Cole has been, Jeff, I mean, they can put up 4 to 5 runs with ease.
Yeah, Donnie, it's interesting that you look at, like, Pittsburgh and Washington, 2 teams that have had major bullpen problems. What is the common theme between those teams the last 2 years in their bullpen? Do you know what it is?
Between which two, Jeff? Go ahead.
The Pittsburgh Pirates and the Nationals. Do you know what the common theme between both those pens are?
Melanson?
Yeah, and they don't keep anybody. I mean, you have Melanson, who's a pretty good closer.
Yep.
They both get rid of him. Get rid of John Papelbon, who, look, bit of a nut job, but, I mean, he's better than what you have.
When you have a Ferrari, you know what I mean? When your team is a Ferrari that you have in frontline starting pitching and hitting, you need serviceable bullpen guys that can just hold. I mean, Jeff, we're not even talking about 3-2 high-pressure situations. We're talking about the games that are 4-2, 5-2 heading down the stretch.
Right.
We just want a guy to come in and throw strikes. And even, I know he's under duress there, but even losing a arm like Clippard, who went to the Yankees, who was there, just serviceable arms that you just let go and think, hey, I'll just bring a couple guys up, like Coda Glover, and we'll just get busy. Doesn't work.
But I mean, like with the Pirates, like if your free agent signings in the bullpen were Daniel Hudson and Wade LeBlanc, you have a problem. I mean, let's just be honest here. But look, I'll give the Pirates some credit. I mean, Bastardo's been injured. Lindblom's been injured, so they've had some injuries. But I like Rivero. I feel like he might be the answer. He pitched well in Washington, might be the answer here. But I don't know, just 2 major issues for these teams.
Yeah, low line on that one. We'll see what happens in that situation. We'll keep it moving. 9:05, 9:06 on the rotation. It's going to be Lester and Wheeler. Obviously, the Cubs versus the Mets. Last night, the Mets picked up a nice winner. Nice bounce-back start there from DeGrom last night to pick up the winner over the Cubs, who seem to be still struggling. Still, as I always like to say, rudderless in the water, just waiting for them to get started. If we take a look at some betting angles here, Jeff, Pinnacle opened up at -128 for Lester on the road, an over-under of 8. Looks like that line has risen a little bit to -133 at Pinnacle, -138 at 5 dimes. 8.5 continuous across the board. Let's get to some particulars on this pitching matchup here between the two. Lester, a 7.0 ERA on the road, 8.16 in his last 3 starts. Wheeler's been good this year. 11 overall starts, Jeff, 3.45 ERA. Chicago now under 500 at 31 and 32. Mets still trying to get it going at 15 and 19 at home. Cespedes back in the lineup. Hopefully Terry Collins can wake up and please put Michael Conforto in that first hole. DFA, Curtis Granderson. Let that offense gel together, and they might have something here. But I'm not touching, Jeff, the Cubs at all here on the road. Lester is a name at this point, as you see the overall ERA. Wheeler is very underrated. Maybe you don't know. But the lineup for the Mets, if they go full tilt tonight, they should be able to get to Lester, no?
They should. The problem is, I mean, Yoenis Cespedes, he had another injury last night. He goes out of the game early. Who knows the story with that? But, Donnie, you look at both these clubs. Mets can't hit lefties. They suck at home offensively. The Cubs can't hit anything right now. You look at on the road this year, hitting just 220. Oh, and by the way, we talked about this last night. The Cubs as a group hitting 233 on the year. So, again, both these teams having issues offensively. I know the overs in Mets games have been cash cows. I'm aware of that. But, Zach Wheeler's been pretty good, Donnie. You look over the last 3 starts, a sub-3 ERA. John Lester, look, I mean, he is what he is. I still think he's a decent pitcher in the major leagues. I don't really look at this Mets lineup. I'm not overly concerned with it. I would look to maybe a first 5 under here. I think both these pitchers will pitch pretty well, but I'm not in love with this game. I'm sorely just looking at it just because of the issues from the plate for both teams. But it's hard to get interested in John Lester lately. The last 3 games, he's had some problems. So I would look maybe first 5 under here, but I don't have much on it, man.
Yeah, Jeff, as you bring up a good point there, the wonderful Joe Madden, that Chicago lineup hitting 233 overall. Maybe if you didn't let your pitchers swing away every time they're up at the plate and just took a sacrifice bunt to move the runners, maybe that would be a little bit higher, Joe Madden. How about that?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we've talked about Joe Madden's issues as a manager. Donnie, I've said the other day I thought Dave Roberts was the worst manager in baseball. Again, I think he's kind of like Tyronn Lue. He just kind of is just there. I don't think anyone really listens much to him, but I mean, he makes some odd decisions. I'd love to. We should go over that sometime, like worst managers in baseball.
No, we are going to do that. Kyle Honey said there on I think it was Kyle that said that, or maybe it was Kyle Hamburg. I'm sorry, I get the two confused. We are going to have a bracket, Jeff, that we're going to make up, probably do it on the late night at campus, of the top 8 to maybe 16 meatball pitchers in Major League Baseball, and we'll have some fun with like the chat box out there, and we'll narrow it down to see who is the biggest meatball pitcher that you love to see on the mound. Yep. I mean, it's a very easy thing to do, a very fun thing, but we'll probably make that up. We could probably do that even for tonight, probably get that going. You make up your meatball guys, I'll make up. We'll have a nice little, maybe a couple votes here on the chat box to see who we can push along and move on. But it seems kind of fun. It's always easy to find that out. But you're right. We are going to do managers because in Major League Baseball, to me, a good manager just doesn't lose you games. A shitty manager will absolutely lose you games based on his moves. So that's a great topic for another time there, Jeff.
2 things, Donnie. First of all, Burns, the Cubs make the playoffs. I think they will just because their division sucks, but I don't think they'll do anything. And, I mean, Donnie, I have to mention this. This guy, Bobby, all right, he has literally been trying to close some broad for literally weeks on end. All I've seen in this chat box is how he's trying to close this broad. Dude, if you haven't closed her by now, maybe you should move on. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, as you can see, I get mad women. I know what I'm talking about. Like, if you ain't closed her yet, cuz, you should probably move on, man. It's like I see this kid, right, Donnie, on Barstool, right? There's a segment they do. It's called it's about these two people that one's a porn star. She's a legendary porn star, Asa Akira. And there's this fat kid that works for Barstool. And you could tell he wants to fuck this girl. Like he all he does is try to get with her. And it's like they've literally been doing shows for literally like a year. And he still doesn't.
She's on Barstool. She's at not just
she's like
out in LA somewhere.
Yeah, she does blogs and stuff. And like this dude's literally been trying to smash for like a year. And like, bro, you can't even smash a porn star. Like, maybe you should move on or something. Again, Bobby, maybe you should just move on. This girl seems like a prude in a way, bro. Like, maybe you got to move on to something bigger and better, Lauren and Seth Hagen, not fans of each other, I see. And Jim Bean, still a weirdo.
Chat box on chat box prime. We get it all. Yeah.
I'm seeing suck my cock. I'm seeing suck my huge. I mean, Seth, you got to relax here, buddy. Like, take it easy.
I mean, I guess it's that midday. You know how you're home all day? If you're not really a sports fan, there's all like the lawyer commercials and just the midday. I mean, I guess that's what we get a little bit of part of that there. Just you have nothing to do during the day. Just go a little bit off the wire.
Seth Hagen, I'm not writing this. What's coming from your name, cuz? Let's move to the next one, Donnie.
Yeah, let's keep it going, man. We're going to get to the doubleheader here. We're going to keep it right to the rotation.
You're
so this
drunk.
will be
It's 12:50 in the morning. What do you mean you're drunk? Dude.
Hey, maybe he's not even. Maybe he's in Britain, in Great Britain.
True. Good point.
A little bit later. Anyway, back to the rotation here. We'll go Nelson and Gonzalez here, Milwaukee and St. Louis. That's 907 and 908. Total opened up at 9 here in this one, Jeff, and at minus 121. Looks like it's pretty much the same here, keeping it at 9 and minus 120. But keep in mind, again, folks, this is the second game, so nothing has been released out there. Just the pitching matchups have come out. If we take a look at a couple particulars just going over that game, Nelson's last 3 starts, 1.71 ERA has been pretty good. Gonzalez, 6 starts, 2.97 ERA. Milwaukee, 16 and 12 on the road. St. Louis, fresh off a sweep of the Phillies, after that long losing streak. But can you even give him credit for sweeping the Phillies? That's just, automatic at that point. But not much on this game overall, Jeff, until we get past that early game. Any early thoughts on this game, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just kind of take this opportunity to mention like the early game. I don't even know who's pitching. I thought it was Jimmy Nelson, but now it looks like it's going to be someone else. Both these games I don't have an opinion on. I hate both these teams. I can't stand St. Louis. I do like Jimmy Nelson, so I feel like when he pitches, I'd be interested. But both these games, I think, are pure passes for me.
Yeah, Woodruff and Lynn. I mean, I'm sorry, and also the Gonzalez. I want to see if Gonzalez actually was I think he's a minor leaguer at this point. I might have wrote that down wrong with the starts might have been coming from AAA. But the same thing with the late game with Woodruff and Lynn as well. Just have to see some lineups that come out. But as anybody can tell, not the smartest thing in the world to take doubleheaders, especially ahead of time. So keep in mind, take a look at those lineups as they come out. See who won the first game. See who exhausted their bullpen, or maybe somebody's not available. That's the best thing we can go over there. We'll keep it moving here, Jeff. 9:09, 9:10, 10:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the West Coast. Feldman and Richard, that is Cincinnati and San Diego, opened up at -110, a small favorite there to Cincinnati. Since been betting a little bit higher 5 times, currently showing a -114 at this point. Over under at 8.5. Looks like you can get 8 with double juice at Pinnacle out there. 5 times currently showing 8.5, Jeff, with half juice at -105 last night. One of the easier plays that I've had on the season. Very nice to go over with the over there. Feldman through 5 road starts, Jeff, 5.26 ERA. Richard, 6 home starts, 4.69 ERA. Cincinnati, however, versus left-handed pitching, 3-11 overall. San Diego, 15-18 at home, coming in here as a slight underdog. Both teams technically not playing that well. Can we see some runs here in this one, Jeff?
Yeah, I think we will. You look at the last 9 of 10 for San Diego have gone over the total. Obviously, if your winner last night as well, been over machines late. You look at opponents against the Padres, 8.3 runs a game over the last 7. Jesus Christ, what the fuck is this? Block that fuck.
I'll handle that. Yeah, I'll handle it, man.
These fucking people, man, are weird, man. Jesus. Reds, though, Donnie, are hitting. They always have been hitting all year. They're actually a pretty decent lineup for the most part. I know they had a little bit of a struggle against the Dodgers over a couple games, but this is a pretty good lineup. There's still bats in this lineup. You know, obviously Vavado and Jeanette and people like that, guys with a little power. I like this group. I don't like fading Richard, though. Richard's a guy. Jesus Christ, this is going to be fun. I blocked it already.
Keep going.
Yeah, I would go over here. I mean, I think both these guys have some issues. I think both these guys will give up runs. And why not ride the train of the overs right now for this group? San Diego finally going over for a change.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you're going to hit one pitcher, Jeff, is the one pitcher got to be Arroyo? I mean, they just torched him early on. It was no surprise there. They actually had a decent line at both sides there, which was my final determining factor in finally going with the play last night. And one of those games early on that was going up against, I mean, there's a couple games out there that I really like, but just the overall value, the 10.5, the 11s, if you looked at the Phillies game, even in the Minnesota game, one would have thought that game would have went over easily, and it did, but it's just paying a premium. Came out a little bit later, had a decent number on the Cincinnati game, so fired away. We'll see if we can get the same type of result there, because, again, both of these pitchers don't look to be shutdown pitchers. If Cincinnati gets hot, they can hit a little bit, even though I know they struggle quite a bit against left-handed pitching, so we'll see what goes on there. What's up?
Hey, Don. I think this chat box might be hacked or something. I mean, there's some people on here that Seth Hagen normally doesn't talk this way. There's some weird things going on with the chat box today. So.
No, it's probably somebody just logging in and making accounts under people's names that they've been in here. Because if you notice, Seth Hagen is just written correctly, where the other Seth Hagen, I think, was all capital letters. Okay. So it's very easy for any knucklehead to make a file and just get in here in a matter of minutes. So we'll just keep on knocking them down and kicking them out. We'll keep on with the show here for us. Next up on the docket, 9-11, 9-12, Tampa Bay, Toronto. Faria versus Strada. Over-under set at 9 currently is what it opened up at. -137, 8.5 now showing up across the board. And a little bit of line movement here on Toronto, Jeff, to -143 here at Pinnacle. 69% are currently backing the home team, Toronto Blue Jays. Faria's first start, Jeff, he was really good. 6 innings pitched, only 3 hits and 1 earned run. Estrada, 6 home starts. He's been decent, 3.89. Last 3 starts, however, Jeff, leaking a little bit of oil with an ERA just north of 7. Tampa Bay 13-17 on the road. Toronto, only 5-5 so far this month. Something has to give. One of those things is I like the start that Faria had here. He's now going to go on the road. It's obviously going to be in a different environment, but Toronto hasn't seen him yet, Jeff, so that's going to play a factor here. That's why I'm not that interested overall in going over this game or picking a side here, because a new pitcher with electric stuff, always tough for me to get a feel for how he's actually going to do.
Yeah, obviously Feria off of a nice outing, but again, like you said, that was at home. Now he's going to go on the road to a dome, face a lineup that has played well lately. I don't know. I mean, a lot of unders lately for Toronto. This group has, been kind of inconsistent lately. Kind of, they had that stretch where they were winning, scoring a ton of runs, and then now you look at lately back to kind of an under trend. Faria, I can't really get involved with this game. I don't know what he's going to give me on the road. Estrada's obviously been much better at home, but I'm not laying 155 right now with the Blue Jays. Just don't really have much interest in this game. And Tampa Bay is 13-17 on the road, Donnie. Just not too interested in that play. I don't want to lay 155, and I don't want to bet the Rays. So
yeah, a little bit tough there. Again, I like to lean away from these because Estrada can turn it on. He can have a good game, and obviously the young kid as well can certainly do that. Next up on the docket here for us, 9-13, 9-14. That's Baltimore and the White Sox. It's going to be Asher and Holland on the mound tonight. 10.5 it opened up as a total. Currently sits at 10.5. Small favorite here to Holland at home with the White Sox minus 108, but has since reversed over to Asher as the favorite here. I don't think Chris Davis is going to play in this game. If we take a look at some particulars here, Asher's 4 road starts, Jeff, 7.36 ERA. Last 3 starts, 9.49 overall to the ERA. Holland's 4 home starts have been good at 2.74, but he's leaking oil lately. His last 3 starts over a 10 ERA. Baltimore now has dropped to 500 on the year after a really nice start. White Sox 15-28 versus right-handed pitching. We know they crack the lefties. We know they struggle versus the righties. So you have that similar matchup, but some interesting line movement here backing the Baltimore Orioles today, Jeff.
Yeah, and I don't know that I understand it, Donnie. I mean, this team is just a mess right now. They're 10-21 on the road. You look at over the last 7 games, opponents shooting .348 against the Orioles, hitting and scoring over 9 runs a game. So overall, this team is in trouble. Not just recently either. Over the whole year, opponents hitting .301 on the road against, or when Baltimore's on the road. Asher, he's having issues. I don't really see it with this guy. He's had some problems. Last 12 and a third, he's given up 13 earned runs. I like Holland at home. I'll come out and say it. I'm going to go with the White Sox here. I think Holland just had a tough outing last game. Had some tough outings, but I like them here. I think they come back, and I'm not interested in backing Baltimore right now.
Yeah, the one interesting thing with that line movement, Jeff, because it's not like you're getting a really solid pitcher here on the road for Baltimore, a team mightily struggling against anybody at this point. To have that reverse line movement and then only 26% of the public backing Holland, it almost makes me feel, or has the feel, Jeff, am I missing out on something here?
In this game, I don't see it. I mean, I guess, people are looking at the White Sox and just thinking they can't hit right-handed pitching, but they are a better team at home offensively. They're hitting .267 at home, scoring over 5 runs a game. So, I mean, they are a pretty backable team. I don't understand it. I think Holland's been very good. You look at the starts that he's struggled in, they've come on the road. At home, he's been very good. An ERA under 3 in 4 starts. He's been very effective. The problem, though, they're not winning his games. That's kind of the problem with Chicago. But if I can get a decent pitcher, I'm going to take a shot here. I think they're going to score some runs here.
Me too. I mean, that's a high number at 10.5. But, I mean, you saw yesterday. I mean, both of these pitchers, the one thing you want to avoid is if you have 2 really good pitchers out there and an over-under of like 9 or more, obviously. But, again, it just gets back to the point with basics for you. Both of these pitchers, can you envision them just having a shutdown 5 innings where it's, 1-1 after 5? I see a little bit more scoring here. So I tend to agree with the chat box and you also, Jeff, and leaning towards the over, even though there's not much value with a 10.5. So that's where we'll leave it on that game. Next up on the docket, another game yesterday with skyrocketed over 9-15, 9-16. That's Seattle and Minnesota. Bergman and Gibson here on the mound. One would think that you look at these 2 names and just say that's going to be an auto over. Obviously, Las Vegas is getting ready for it because it opened up at 10 and now currently sits at 11. Gibson opened up basically as a pick-em. He's actually a favorite, Jeff, at Chris, at minus 117. Some particulars here. Bergman's 3 road starts have been awful. 7.31 overall, but solid in his last 3, a 1.50 ERA. Gibson's 5 home starts, awful as well, 7.25. But he, in his last 3 starts, Jeff, a 2.65 ERA. Seattle 7-4 in the month of June. Minnesota 12-19 at home. It's kind of an opposites attract here. Seattle hates to be on the road, and Minnesota hates to be at home. You saw it yesterday with a lot of scoring. Vegas anticipating more scoring again, setting that number at 11 in this one, Jeff.
Yeah, this is I think a number to kind of reel people in, but again, it's hard to bet an under here. I mean, this total opened 9.5, Donnie. So obviously people jumping on the over here. Seattle's been poor on the road. Minnesota's been poor at home. But you look at Bergman, good at home, but I mean, 3 road starts, an ERA over 7. Gibson, he's been an absolute mess as well. 0-3 with a 7.25 ERA. I have nothing on this game. I don't see any way to bet it. There's just no option here for me. Both these pitchers struggle. Both these pitchers have issues. And these teams, I just don't really want to back Seattle on the road. I don't like Minnesota at home. This is a straight pass for me. Yeah,
it's an interesting one, Jeff, because one thing that you would look at both sides, they have been a little bit better lately, but the one thing you like to look for in a baseball game, if you're thinking about betting a total, whether it be over or under, is can the fire be put out? Time and time again, earlier in the season, Jeff, we look at Chicago and say, can Pelfrey give us just 5 innings? Can your starting pitcher give us 4? And we'll tote the bag the rest of the way. Jeff, both sides on these teams with Seattle and Minnesota, nobody's going to be able to come in and put that fire out and just going to continue to burn through the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th innings here.
No, both these bullpens have trouble. And you look at Minnesota, I mean, they kind of had it, lately, early in the year had been pitching pretty well, but their bullpen has been a total mess lately. So, yeah, this could be rough.
No, I would tend to agree. It's trending over. Obviously, if you're going to set an 11, they're expecting some fireworks in that one, but that's just a number. Even if I don't like either pitcher, Jeff, I'm not going to step into that one. You need a 7-5 win outside of Coors Field just to get a winner in that one. I don't want any part of that. Let's keep it moving here. Game I'm interested in here, 9-17, 9-18. It's going to be Texas and Houston. Martinez and Peacock. Over-under set at 9.5. Currently sits at 9.5. Over Peacock getting a lot of love here. Minus 180 almost across the board. If we take a look at some particulars here, Jeff, Nick Martinez, 4 road starts. Hasn't been very good. Close to a 6 ERA. Peacock's last 3 starts himself, 6.58. Interesting bit of analysis here on Peacock. He actually has been pushed up here, so he's not even going to be on full rest heading into this one. Texas 13-18 on the road, even with that win last night. Houston 35-14 versus right-handed pitching. We know they can get rid of it. Last night, if you watched that game, Josh Reddick crashed into the wall, came down with a mild concussion, didn't make the catch, so he's probably going to be out and headed to the 7-day DL with the concussion check there. But overall, rinse and repeat with Houston, Jeff. One player goes out, one more is going to come into that spot and probably do well here.
Yeah, one steps out, one steps in. That's what this team does. Right-handed pitching, they've been murdering the ball all year. I don't think they have any trouble tonight against Nick Martinez, a guy that I think could be lumped into the group of just lost. This guy doesn't belong in the major leagues. He didn't belong last year. He doesn't belong this year. Has never belonged in the MLB, and I think he's going to get crushed in this start. I don't really trust either pitcher, though. I don't trust Brad Peacock. I mean, at what point, Brad Peacock, is on cloud 9 seemingly for a while, and then he came back to earth on Friday. So, yeah, this one's a tough one. I think Houston will win, but we all know I'm not laying 170 with anything, so I won't be on it. But I think the Houston Astros get the job done. Might be a good parlay piece. I don't trust Peacock, though. I think Brad Peacock will be Brad Peacock for the rest of the year. But I definitely don't like Nick Martinez.
Yeah, we'll see how they bounce back after a loss there. We're going to keep it going on the West Coast here, Jeff. 9-19, 9-20. That's going to be Sabathia and Ramirez. The Yankees and the Angels opened up at minus 140 as a road favorite. Peeled back a little bit to minus 125 at Chris, minus 122 at 5 times. Over-under at 8.5. Currently sitting at 8.5 across the board. And why not? Nice resurgence here by CC Sabathia. And again, he's not going to be in the where I worry about CC Sabathia, Jeff, is if he was pitching today in the Bronx in 90, 95-degree weather. It's going to be out on the West Coast, going to be cool at night, so we'll have some good weather to pitch under. If we take a look at some particulars, even after that really rough start he had in the month of April, he's calmed it down. 12 starts overall, nice 3.66 ERA. Ramirez's last 3 starts, a 6.06 ERA. We'll see if Sanchez gets back in the lineup tonight for the Yankees. 38-23 overall for the Bronx Bombers, 18-13 for the Angels at home. And I do want to take just a minute out here, and we talk about him quite a bit. I know Jeff's a Yankees fan. We all know that. But the approach and the plate appearances and how well Aaron Judge is doing for a man that big at the plate, I have nothing but respect for. I know Ryan Howard, taking it back to my Phillies days, back in the mid-2000s, hitting the 313, the 58 bombs, a little bit different time. But once they figured him out, he was pretty much shot. I want to see how Aaron Judge progresses because I love his plate approach and his discipline, hitting with power as well, high average. It's everything you look for. He's in the front runner, seat there to be the AL MVP already, and well-deserved, Jeff.
Yeah, interesting take on Aaron Judge from Buster Olney, who I've always liked Buster Olney. I think he's a professional. He's always been very good as far as being a base reporter. He compared Aaron Judge a little bit to Babe Ruth, which is obviously – I think fairly early to do, but you look at kind of the size of him. He's kind of like a freak. I mean, he's a huge guy. I mean, I saw him against next to Chris Davis. Did you see that?
He's a monster. He's like, yeah. I've seen Giancarlo Stanton, being at Phillies games up close, and he is a monster. And for what everybody tells me, like Aaron Judge just dwarfs Stanton, which is amazing because he's one of the biggest humans I've ever seen play baseball.
Yeah, he's really taking the league over. And again, I mean, we kind of reference back to it, kind of the future of this Yankees team and some of the young guys coming up. It's kind of been something that we've never really seen with the Yankees. I mean, there always have been a team that they go out and buy players and do it like kind of that way. But you look at some of the greats. I mean, Mariano Rivera, Derek Jeter, homegrown people, homegrown talent. They're starting to do that once again, and we have to, as a Yankee fan, love it. I'm just waiting for Chase Headley to be set. I mean, last night was fucking classic. I mean, 7th inning, Judge hits the big home run. Aaron Hicks got involved. Didi gets involved. Everybody's involved. First and second, who comes up but Chase Headley with 2 outs and grounds out? I mean, he's just a cock block. He's like the girl at the bar you're trying to get with, and there's some friend just bothering you the whole time. She just ruins everything. That's Chase Headley right now. Yankees have won 6 in a row. Donnie, the LA Angels are 10-0 on Tuesday. How about that? They love
going up on a Tuesday out there, huh? Jeez.
Going up on a Tuesday. Yankees though have won 11-14 against the Angels. The Angels are hitting right now. That is a good point by several people. But I mean, you look at the Yankees just dominating teams. Last 7 games, 9.1 runs a game. Opponents 2.4. They're winning these games by 6, 7, 8 runs. Just controlling teams all year. Opponents hitting just 227 against the Yankees. I'm going to tell you right now, if they keep getting pitching like this all year, Donnie, they're a World Series contender. How can they not be? With the offense they have, with the pitching they've gotten, I mean, everything's went right for the Yankees. Everything's been good. The bullpen's been great. And CC on the road has been fantastic. I look no other way but the Yankees here. I will not jump off this bus.
Yeah, I mean, why not? You're getting good prices there, too. And if one, Las Vegas is going to set a -140 as a road favorite out there. I know it backtracked a little bit and some heavy. If you're a false flag type guy, you would be looking towards the Angels at this point here. But tough to stay in front of that train that's moving forward that is the Yankees. And again, Ramirez not exactly your shutdown pitcher where, Clayton Kershaw is going to try to quiet the bat. So we'll see what happens there. It'll be late night. We'll be live on Late Night on Campus as that game is rolling underway. Next up on the docket, we'll come back to the East Coast here, 9:21, 9:22. That's Oakland and Miami. Cotton versus Urania. Line opened up at 9 as a total. -118 is a slight favorite there to the Miami Marlins. If we take a look now, it's been bet up slightly, -124 at sportsbook.com. Looks like the over-under is staying pat there at 9 across the board. Some tidbits on this game here for us. Cotton's 5 road starts. He's been good on the road, 2.83 ERA. Urania, last 3 starts, not so good, 6.28 ERA. Oakland, abysmal, just like my Philadelphia Phillies on the road, coming in at a 9-23 clip. Miami, 6-5 in the month of June. Hoping to get Giancarlo Stanton back tonight after that scare, almost a similar type of pitch that hit Atlanta superstar, why is it getting my mind? Freddie Freeman, I'm sorry. Same exact thing, but no broken bones there for Giancarlo Stanton. We'll see if he's back in that lineup tonight. I'm waiting on Miami, Jeff, to get back to their full lineup, maybe get Echeverria back, maybe get Justin Bour back in that lineup, along with the healthy Stanton. That's when I like to really hit up the Marlins. But again, you can't just say, I'm just going to be sharp and take Jarrell Cotton since he's been good on the road. Oakland is just a awful road team. Only seem to play well in the friendly confines out there of O.O.O.O. Coliseum at this point. So it's a no-brainer for me just to stay away. Only 25% of the people backing the road team in Oakland here don't have much in this game. Not really big fans of either pitching here, Jeff.
Yeah, I actually like Oakland in this game, Donnie.
Okay.
I really like Cotton on the road. And Cotton is from Miami, Donnie. He went to Miami-Dade College when he came to the U.S. from the Virgin Islands. He's a Miami kid. I think he's going to be excited to go back and pitch in Miami. The question is, can the A's hit? And I think they can. Ureta has not been very good. I mean, he doesn't do much for me. I don't think Miami, in essence, doesn't do much for me, particularly the pitching staff. I don't think their pitching staff's very good. I don't think I do like their lineup, but I do think Cotton, I think he's going to pitch well. He's pitched well on the road all year. And I like sometimes when the young kids come home, kind of the hometown, they'll probably have some family or friends there. They'll want to pitch well here. I think Cotton's the play here. I'll take a shot with Jarrell Cotton, and I hate the A's on the road. I've always said that, but I'm just not interested, and mostly in backing them. But I think it's a good spot for them here. I like Cotton.
Yeah, getting a decent price on there. We'll see if they can bring some bats. So, yeah, I mean, it's not one I want to get tied into just because I can't stand the way Oakland plays. But I would agree that Miami's not really bringing their A game or A team at this point, especially with Urania on the mound. So it's not anything that you would be scared of, like, oh, man, you can really shut down the bat. So we'll see what happens in this situation. Next up on the docket, we'll head back to Beantown here, Jeff. We'll go with Lively and Price on the mound, Philadelphia and Boston. Only 1,900 tickets tracked so far. Over-under opened up at 9.5. Currently 9.5 across the board. Another massive price for Boston. Price opens up at minus 242. Currently sitting at minus 260 at sportsbook.com. And why not? I mean, why not just set it at minus 900? Because the Phillies don't beat anybody anyway. So, as they say in the industry, Jeff, it's only bad juice if you lose the game. It's hard to back your money. At home with the Phillies, it's one thing. On the road, you get up 4-0. You can't even tack on any runs. When you jump on a team and jump on a bad pitch, you put up 4 in the first, you get maybe 1 in the second, 2 more in the third, and just keep the pedal to the metal. They didn't do any of that, couldn't keep up last night. But that's just what the Phillies do. Lively's been good through 2 starts, 2.57 ERA. So maybe he can fool Boston a little bit the first 2-3 times through the lineup as he can do. Price has been very average this year. 3 total starts, all on the road, over a 5 ERA, roughed up versus New York. If we look at the Phillies on the road, almost carbon copy, Jeff, to the Oakland Athletics, 9-27 overall. And how about this? You want to talk about, hey, guys, we'll get them tomorrow. Yeah, we'll get them tomorrow. The Phillies are 11-30 after losing a game. There's no giddy up. Nobody gives a damn in that locker room if they win or lose. Boston playing well at home and should hit at 20-11 overall. But again, it's a high number. I'm not interested in going behind it or laying that number and giving that out. But if you're betting the Philadelphia Phillies at this point, the team doesn't even give a shit from top ownership all the way down. Why should you?
Yeah, and then they draft someone last night, and everyone's all excited. Yeah, we won't see him for like 8 years. What does it matter? Who cares?
Yeah, we'll see him when he's like 37 years old.
Yeah.
So
he'll be 34 and with someone else.
No.
Wow, that's kind of what the Phillies do. They're 9-27 on the road. They've lost 6 in a row. It seems like every time we talk about the Phillies, they've lost 6 in a row, or 9 in a row, or 12 in a row. Donnie, you look at an interleague play this year. The numbers are disgraceful. Opponents scoring over 8 runs a game, and the opponents are hitting 357. American League teams love the Phillies. I mean, it's clear. Okay, Lively's been good. All right. But he doesn't strike people out. He's going up to Fenway, a place he's never pitched. I think the Red Sox roll tonight. I think they do what many thought they would do last night. David Price was poor in his last start, but he always pitches bad against the Yankees. That's his MO. He's not good against the Yankees. So I don't really put a lot of stock into that. He shouldn't have any problem with the Phillies tonight. I would lay the 1.5 runs here with the Red Sox. I don't do it often. I don't like doing it as a home ball club, but I think they're up pretty heavily in this game, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been that way for a long time, where the Phillies just outclassed by American League ball clubs. I mean, you go into Fenway or wherever you have, and like your options to DH are like Daniel Nava or maybe a Brock Stassi. I mean, they're just completely underwhelmed and overmanned just about every single game from their 1 through 8 hitters. They're usually not as good as the other team. Their pitching staff obviously not as good. Their bullpen is usually worse. They don't get any clutch hittings. They have a rock for a manager in there. So I mean, you get what you get with the Phillies, and that's why they continuously lay these type of numbers or get these type of numbers on the road, because when the team doesn't even give a damn if they win, you could set that price at whatever you want, because when it boils down to it and nut crunching time comes on the line, they're not going to hold the lead because, again, they don't give a shit if they win or lose. Next up on the docket here for us, Jeff, let's move to a little bit better, maybe an intriguing ball matchup here for us. 925, 926. That's the Dodgers and the Cleveland Indians here. We're going to go Kershaw and Bauer. Interesting matchup. Don't see these type of, teams matching up each and every day here. Obviously, 9.5 across the board is what it opened up with, and still currently staying the same with the total. Looks like 7.5 it opened up, 7.5 across the board. So something low. We're not used to seeing that type of number, especially in American League ballpark. Kershaw opens up at a -140, obviously bet up to a -160 here at Chris. If you're looking across the board, looking for some numbers here, Kershaw, I mean, it is what it is. 2.20 ERA through 13 starts. Bauer, 5 home starts, 5.20 ERA. Dodgers, 14-15 on the road. Kind of interesting that you see that, considering how well they do play at home. 4-5 in the month of June for the Cleveland Indians. Something has to give here, but my money would never go on Trevor Bauer, especially in this situation. Line does look a little bit short to me, even though they are on the road playing a decent team at home. But I can't bet my money on Bauer. Same way I can't bet it on Tomlin. 2 absolute, fire gas can. Call the, police, call the fire department when he's pitching. Typically, that's what he's going to give you on the mound here. So I would lean with a decent price and be super square in this situation with the Dodgers. I don't see any other way to go here, Jeff.
Every time you downplay Philly, they seem to show up.
When? Like once they win a game?
We've been downplaying them all year, and they never show up. I don't know what you're talking about. Cleveland couldn't hit lefties. Holmberg just fucking bad against – yeah, agreed. I mean, how can you – again, I mean, I've said it time and time again. I'm going to say it again. How can you not bet the Dodgers in this spot? I don't really get it. I mean, you're getting value with Kershaw. He's never this price. Bauer's been a mess. He's a right-handed pitcher. And, I mean, will the Indians score tonight? I mean, they couldn't hit David Holmberg. I mean – And
it's not one of those things, Jeff, where, if you have the benefit – even though Kershaw shuts everybody down, but at least you're in the NL West – and you say, I have like 40 at-bats against Kershaw. Like a lot of these guys don't see him that much. Boy, it's a tough thing to see.
Right. And, I mean, Cleveland's sitting 231 against left-handers this year. I mean, they're just not any good. Kershaw's been fantastic as always on the road. And, Donnie, the Indians have been getting pounded lately. Opponents hitting 311 over the last week against this team and scoring 6 runs a game. I'm all over the Dodgers here. I love this game, and I love the Dodgers, and I'll continue to bet them. That's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, and no surprise, 85% of the overall public is backing the Dodgers in this spot, Jeff, but something food for thought, which is actually a good reason. 90% of the money is actually coming in on the Dodgers. So you have a decent ticket split if you're going to have that. Where you would worry, Jeff, obviously 85% of the tickets coming in and like 30% of the money, but obviously the public on your side. And again, the line rose. If it opened up at -140 at Pinnacle and sits at -157, it is going in the right direction. So you technically don't have any false flags there, which you scratch and say, I wonder why this line really is there. I mean, they set a lower line, public bet it higher, and the public dollars are pushing that higher as well. So we'll see how that one turns out. Let's keep going down the docket. A couple games
Donnie.
left here. What's up, man?
Don?
Yeah, what's up?
It's all about cute faces nowadays and big mouths. Go get it. We behind you. I got to be honest. This doesn't come across to me as a chat that is do we all talk to women like this? Because if we do, maybe Bobby.
That's why we're all on the chat.
Right. I don't really look at a woman's mouth when I talk to her, but all right. We'll see.
Maybe they were complimenting us, Jeff. Big mouths that we like to talk, and maybe both of us have cute faces.
Maybe.
Someone's digging it out there, right?
Might be right.
Next up, Arizona, Detroit, 927, 928. That's going to be Greinke and Farmer. Jeff, this is your arch nemesis on the mound tonight. -110, it opens up as a small favorite for Arizona. Has actually been bet a little down, so some good 50-50 movement on here, even though 72% of the betting public is currently backing here with tickets on Arizona over under at 9. Looks like it's 9 across the board. Greinke through 13 starts this year. He's putting in his time. 3.20 ERA. Buck Farmer, Jeff, 2 starts, 0 ERA, 16 Ks. Arizona 7-1 in interleague play. Detroit 16-12 at home. Jeff, break it down for the people with Buck Farmer out there.
How can I break it down? He's took money from me the last 2 nights. What do I say? I mean, 13 innings. He hasn't given up a run. Buck Farmer's been very good. I mean, I got to give it to him. And he's facing a lineup that is bad on the road. I mean, the Diamondbacks are only hitting .219 away from home. They're just not very good on the road. And I think he should have another nice outing here. I mean, I will say this, though. I mean, faced the White Sox and the Angels without Mike Trout. So let's just don't get ahead of ourselves. But, again, I think he'll pitch well again tonight here. I'm not betting this game. I like Arizona at home, and that's really it. I will say this, maybe the under. I mean, if you think Greinke's going to pitch well, Farmer, if he pitches, maybe first 5 under. I mean, you look at this year on the road, Diamondbacks 20-10 to the under. So been a lot of low-scoring games. They can't hit. They got Greinke on the mound. If Buck Farmer pitches pretty well here, I think we see a pretty low-scoring game here. I would probably go under.
Yeah, watching the Arizona Diamondbacks over the years, I'm still amazed every time I watch. Like, when I see Paul Goldschmidt's actual average, I wonder how he ever even makes an out. It seems like every at-bat he barrels up a pitcher. Just one of the best pure hitters in baseball. It's actually a shame he's out there with Arizona, just, not on a great ball club. Can you imagine him, Jeff, on an East Coast team, like, swinging for the Yankees or the Boston Red Sox or being with the Dodgers? I mean, he would just be in a different stratosphere, but just the consummate pro that you always like. If you're betting against him or you have him, Jeff, whenever you see like, all right, it's going to be first and second, and here walks up Paul Goldschmidt. Like, if you have the under, if you bet that, or you're going against it, you can almost just chalk it up. He's going to barrel one, either hit a home run, put one in the gap, or do something there. Just one of the 2 gems at the plate in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I mean, one of the only things he does strike out a lot, it seems like. But other than that, I mean, he's not a guy that makes bad outs. He does get walked a lot too. You're right. If he was in the East Coast, people saw him every night like an Aaron Judge. He would be getting all the love. I would like to see him on another team. I always have, but he's a good consummate pro. It's a great way of saying it. You don't really ever – I've never heard him talk, honestly. I've never heard him utter a word. He just kind of sits there and does his thing.
Yeah, no, definitely a good guy. We'll keep it moving here. 9:29, 9:30. Kansas City, San Francisco out at AT&T Park. Vargas versus Block. 7.5 it opens up, Jeff, as a total. 7.5 currently staying across the board. 60% of the tickets backing the road team here with Kansas City. That line opened up as a slight favorite to San Francisco at -120. Hanging around that same development. Vargas through 5 road starts, 2.73 ERA. We all know the numbers that Vargas puts up at home. Very good as well. Block 5 home starts. This is the spot that you want to take him in. 1.87 ERA. He does pitch very well out there in San Francisco. Kansas City 11-18 overall on the road, and 4-6 for San Francisco at home. Doesn't seem like they're going to get it in gear this year and try to make a run for the playoffs. Just sort of playing it out, see what happens here. When they do put an A lineup in there, they are a decent hitting one. But again, 7.5 set as an over-under, and this is not a hitter-friendly ballpark, certainly for the pitchers there. So 7.5 might be a decent play to look under in this one, Jeff.
San Francisco 20-9 to the under in AT&T Park this year. Opponents hitting just .231 in that ballpark this year. Yeah, I mean, Kansas City, not a good team on the road offensively. San Francisco struggled all year. I think the only concern here would be the bullpens. These guys don't go deep or something. But Vargas has been very good, a 2.18 ERA and 12 starts. He's 9-3 to the under. I mentioned Blott. I really like him. I think he's one of the really good young pitchers in baseball. He's coming up. He's getting there. Good lefty. I like both these teams to not hit tonight. I think this is probably the one underplay that you got to feel pretty good about. Both the last 2 games we talked about, D-backs, Detroit, and this game, I both like under the total win. Yeah. I think they're low-scoring games. This, to me, Donnie, is a 3-2, 4-2 type of game.
Yeah, it seems like that's what they produce out there. You're right with that stat there. I believe, what was it, 20-9 to the under? You can see it. And the interesting thing about that is We like to take a look at wind condition and weather conditions, but over the years, you learn which ballparks that it really doesn't matter. It seems like every night, Jeff, in San Francisco, the wind's blowing out at 20 miles an hour. It doesn't matter in that ballpark. That heavy marine air that's out there filtering off the bay, large ballpark, doesn't ever seem to play. And same thing with Oakland. I mean, Oakland's blowing out each and every night, high teens there. If you look at the one place, obviously, which is Wrigley Field, which if that's blowing in or out, a huge discrepancy. But across baseball, a lot of times, sometimes the wind conditions can be a little bit overblown there.
Yeah, I mean, I know, look, anything off the water, I'm not particularly interested in overs, honestly. I mean, you really got to look at how the wind's blowing. I mean, lakes and things like that are weird kind of beasts as far as trying to forecast how teams will play. But it's always kind of that drabby, it's right near the water. It's usually
always
nice.
Cool. It's never really hot out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the shore. I mean, usually when you go to the shore, it's much cooler, obviously, with the breeze blowing off the ocean and the sea breeze and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think the game goes under. This is I like this bet. I do. One of my favorite plays today. That other under we talked about with the D-backs. Obviously, I like the Dodgers a little bit, and I like the Yankees. So, I'm excited to see how it goes. I think there are definitely some spots here on the card. Someone asking about France-England friendly today. Yeah, I don't. World Cup qualifiers were a mess over the weekend. So, look, I would think France would want to come back after that embarrassing defeat. Both these teams had poor showings in their friendlies. France lost on that ridiculous, mistake by the goalie in England. We obviously saw what happened there. So, I would stay away from that. I don't have anything on World Cup qualifiers. As far as where's the fathead? I mean, how many times are you going to ask it? I ordered it.
Maybe he should order one and send it to you, big man.
This guy's relentless, man. And as far as the calls, we'll get to those later. Who would you say are the best young and up-and-coming pitchers, Donnie? Blotch and who else? We'll go over that tonight on the show. Listen to the show tonight. I'll give out a couple up-and-comers that I really like. Maybe even some guys in the minors. So
yeah, one of those. I'm gonna give a guy out there who's not a young guy, so I'll just take it right out of the rotation. But just a newcomer, technically, is if you see me tweet, Junior Gurra for the Milwaukee Brewers, just a very impressive guy. I like to say he's young, but he's Dominican. He's over 30, which probably means he's like 37. So, but he's a newcomer, not actually a younger type guy.
Yeah, I have several. We'll get to those for sure. Donnie, we'll make sure we do that on tonight's show. It's full baseball tonight, guys. Talking baseball, get into the calls. You want to call in, 717-220-3358. Donnie, I'm going to eat some lunch, and I'm headed onto the road here. I got to get down to the shore. I got to get out of here. We'll be on later tonight. Have a great day. Donnie, any last words before we go?
Any last words? If you want to donate to me and the big man on campus because you need maybe some extra runs, you're betting aside, for $2.99, we will light this candle, me and the big man together. And if you put a donation in, you're guaranteed to win your wager. But other than that, we will catch you tonight on the Late Night at Campus, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jeff, have a safe trip down the shore. I'll catch you later, buddy.
Thank you, my friend. Talk to you.